Welcome back to the 90 More Podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to brand new video. The international break is over and the Premier League is back. Manchester United this Saturday take on Brighton. Difficult game, but it's one that will actually help Manchester United to get where they are and where they are actually going. Brighton are really on fire. We're going to be diving into the team form, the team news as well, and my analysis and also my prediction as well for this game. Now, Brighton have not won many games at the Old Trafford. Actually, that's a very good record for Manchester United. But in their last three encounters, Brighton have beaten Manchester United 3 out of 3 times. Man United have a couple of injuries and that could be the worry for them this weekend. Of course, the UEFA Champions League is also coming. Man United have to prepare for both Brighton and Bayern Munich in 1 week. Will Manchester United survive? Will they actually have that extra motivation to dig deeper and pick up 3 points after losing to Arsenal last weekend but won? Okay, let's get into the team news. Manchester United have a couple of injuries obviously, but let's start off with Anthony. He is suspended indefinitely, so there is no period in which he's expected to be coming back. Obviously, you know the reasons why Anthony won't be playing in this game. Lisandro Martinez is a doubt. Now, he did pick up that small injury at Manchester United. He's not played for Argentina in their international break fixtures. However, he has a 50% chance of playing in this game. Luke Shaw is out of this one. Mason Mount has a 25% chance of playing in this game. He has a thigh injury. Now, it is expected he might actually come back sooner than Luke Shaw, right? So Mason Mount could be back. Rafael Varane is out of this one. Sofian Amrabat could be the big boost for Manchester United fans. He signed on deadline day and he's not played a single game, a single minute for Manchester United. Now, the Morocco national team announced that the player was actually left out of their fixtures due to a back injury. According to the team news I'm getting, he has a 50% chance of playing in this game. Kobe Mainu will not be featuring in this one. Amadou Diallo as well is injured. So a couple of injuries for Manchester United and a couple of key injuries as well. So you look at Amrabat. If he doesn't play in this game, if Varane doesn't play, if Mason Mount doesn't play, if Luke Shaw and Lisandro Martinez don't play in this game, defensively, Manchester United will be really affected. But in terms of injuries for Brighton, it's only Julio Enciso Espinola who is actually out. Enciso has been a key player for them this campaign. He started off very well in that number 10 role, but Brighton are always alright. They have Joao Pedro in that position. They have a couple of players as well that can give you that 10/9, 10/8 role. And then, of course, Joao Pedro can play as a straight number 10 like we saw against Newcastle. So Julio Enciso Espinola is the only player out and there is no return date. So Brighton could be missing Julio Enciso for a very long period of time. In terms of the team form, Manchester United this season in the Premier League, it's a couple of mixed reactions and mixed fixtures. Played 4, won 2 and lost 2 as well. I think with Manchester United, their only concern is going to be the games they've won and the nature in which they've won those games and the games they've lost and the nature in which they've lost those games. So the Tottenham Hotspur loss was blatantly poor. They really played very, very poorly in that game. They looked like a team that was really disconnected and really confused. Against Arsenal, they will feel a little bit better. They lost 3-1, but 2 of the goals actually came into the late 90s. So they will feel they played much better against Arsenal. They were compact. They defended well as well at the Emirates Stadium until the 98th minute and the 100th minute as well. So that is the nature of those losses. The problem with Man United is the games they've won are not inspiring and convincing at all. So the win against Nottingham Forest 3-2 is one where you've got to ask a lot of questions of Man United. Number one, how do you trail 2-0 at the Old Trafford against Nottingham Forest? Number two, the game they won against Wolverhampton Wanderers at the Old Trafford, they didn't play well at any point in that game. Apart from that Rafael Varane goal, which was the only positive in the game, and Andre Onana, the rest of the game was Wolverhampton Wanderers, and they survived a penalty shoutout. They survived a couple of chances that Matthias Cunha should have buried in that game. So Man United will be feeling that after this international break, they have a couple of things to work on, especially winning games more comfortably and also playing inspiring and convincing football. With Brighton, they have scored 12 goals and conceded 6. Manchester United have scored 5 and conceded 7. So you can see the difference between the two sides. Brighton are scoring goals. They are rampant and they have already beaten a huge side in Newcastle by 3-1. Now, they don't concede a lot. 6 goals conceded in 4 games. Of course, that means that you're conceding a goal per 90 and then a few cents per 90. They've got to reduce that, right? I think Brighton, if you're having up to 70% ball possession in some games, you don't have to be conceding as many goals. goals as they are conceding at the moment. But Brighton have done very well, losing one game against West Ham, which was actually a very rampant defeat, and it's a key game in this analysis of this game. But they've won 3, beating Newcastle 3-1. That is, for me, the highlight for them. And it could be another key game for us to analyze as we get into the Manchester United-Brighton game. So let's look at the starting 11s, potentially with all the injuries, with all the players available and players not available, who could actually start for Man United and who could start for Brighton as well. Andre Onana is expected to be in goal. He has actually gone back to Cameroon, to the national team. I think problem with African football is we don't want to embrace the new ideas football is actually providing. But Andre Onana is back with Cameroon and you expect him to start for Manchester United. He's one of the positives they have in this campaign. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Diego Dalot, Lindelof and Evans could be the starting back four. I don't know who is better. Talk to me in the comment box below. Is it Evans or Harry Maguire? I mean, Harry Maguire is a mistake walking. Johnny Evans is not to the standard of Manchester United at the moment. So let me know in the comment box below who should be partnering Lindelof, because like I say, Lisandro Martinez has got that 50% chance of playing in this game. In midfield, it should be Casemiro, Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes. Sofian Amrabat has a chance, 50% chance to play in this game. But I still think the manager, because this is a very difficult game, this is a very important game for Erik ten Hag, he might decide to stick with a system that has actually worked for him for quite some time. So we might see Eriksen, Bruno and Casemiro in this game. And of course, up front, the full debut of Rasmus Hojlund at the Old Trafford and Marcus Rashford plus Alejandro Garnacho. I think the problem in this one for Man United and Erik ten Hag is going to be replacing Antony. Jadon Sancho doesn't want to play down on the right hand side. Marcus Rashford has proven very positive and very fruitful on the left hand side. So do you invert Garnacho and he takes up that Antony role, or do you invert Marcus Rashford? They have an option as well in Facundo Pellistri. That guy's good. Like, one of the young players that I love in the Premier League is Facundo Pellistri. So Pellistri could actually play a key role in this game if none of the other players is seen or deemed fit by the manager to actually play in that role for Antony. For Brighton, Jason still actually could be back in goal after missing out on the last game against Newcastle. Estupiñán, Veltman, Van Hecke and Lewis Dunk in that back four. They're defensively astute, Brighton. I actually think that Tyrick Lamptey should be starting more games, but the problem is that guy Estupiñán. Absolutely very solid. So that's the back four you expect. Pascal Gross and Billy Gilmore to sit in that defensive midfield role, in that pivot. You could see Mahmoud Dawood, you could see James Milner, or we could see actually Carlos Baleba starting in this game. Solly March, Joao Pedro and Karumi Toma will be starting behind Ferguson. Ferguson recorded a hat-trick in his last Premier League game against Newcastle. So you've got to watch out for that boy called Ferguson. Obviously, I will have him in my FPL. The key players in this game, I think it's going to be a game that really brings out the notion of true opposites. Brighton will look to be on the ball, control possession and create chances organically, while Manchester United will try to manufacture quick chances. So what I mean in this one is that Man United will be trying to use Andre Onana and the pace in behind of Rasmus Hojlund, Marcus Rashford and Garnacho to spin in behind and try to catch Brighton on the break. And Brighton will actually be trying to play it calm, just make sure that they are in position, they keep the ball, and they know the chances will come and the goals will come as well. So the key players to the way Manchester United will want to approach this game and the way Manchester United have been approaching games this campaign, number one is Andre Onana. But of course not because only he allows them to play out from the back and that ability to play long balls over the top. Also, you've got to watch out for Brighton. They are good. They create chances and they score goals. 12 goals in 4 appearances in 4 games this campaign. It means that Brighton are averaging 3 goals per 90. How many teams are doing that in the Premier League right now? I don't know of many. So if a team is actually averaging 3 goals per 90, your goalkeeper is going to be a key player in order to keep them out, but also in order to just make sure that when Man United get that ball, he can release it quicker, and we know Andre Onana has got that ability to do something like that. Marcus Rashford is going to be a key player because I don't think Man United will be on the ball a lot of the time. I don't think Manchester United will pin Brighton. I don't think Man United will have up to 50% ball possession. They might have they might have possession probably 45, probably 46 or 47. So it means that they will have to use the pace of players like Marcus Rashford. The good thing with Brighton is there are players like Estopian that wing backs, and they really love to overlap, right? Estopian is one of the players that you can actually exploit. If he comes in front, then you can definitely play that ball in behind, exploit that space. And Marcus Rashford, there's no better player at doing that. An example is that goal he scored against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. Another key player is going to be Carlos Casemiro, that midfield pivot of Billy Gilmour and Pascal Gross. You've got to stop them. You can't allow them to play the ball. I mean, because you want to play on the transition, you've got to find the chances. So how do you find the chances? You've got to break play and release your wingers, release your forward players a little bit quicker. Carlos Casemiro is going to be the player to do that. Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Rasmus Hojlund are going to be very key players as well. Rasmus Hojlund, for me, it's about dropping into the midfield, forming that box midfield, forming overloads, creating overloads for Manchester United in the midfield to allow win the ball back, and also the pace in behind. He's got the pace, we know. We've seen him against for Denmark. He's a good goal scorer, and one of the things I've actually loved about Rasmus Hojlund, I did watch a few minutes of him for Denmark. He is a team player, so he literally does not want to drive the ball and waste the chances or waste possession. He will try to play those 1-2s. He'll try to play itself with an opponent, which actually means that he can drop into the midfield, play a 1-2, create spaces, open up channels for Marcus Rashford and Garnacho to run into. But one player that's going to be very important today in that game actually is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Bissaka is going to be against one of the best teams with the best wingers, whether it's against Solimatch or Karo Mitoma. In this case, it's going to be Karo Mitoma. I don't want to speak before the action happens, but you know, Karo Mitoma is one player you don't want to play against. He's one player that has a lot of options. He's got that ability to drift inside and just cause havoc centrally, but then he's got the ability to take you on the back line, beat you from there, and provide that quality delivery. So it's going to be a long evening for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and it's going to be a key player for Manchester United. For Brighton, obviously, it's going to be Karo Mitoma because they will try to utilize the wide areas like they always do. Still the same with Solimatch. Is going to be a very, very key player for them in this game. They'll try to make sure that Manchester United open up. And how do you open up Manchester United? You've got to have exciting forwards, and guess what? Mitoma and Solimatch are absolutely exciting. Pascal Gross for me is going to be a very key player for them because Pascal Gross in that midfield, he's a player that just allows continuity, fluency in the system for Manchester United. Ferguson for me is going to be a key player for in this one because whether it's Evans or Lindelof, Evan Ferguson has got the ability to disorganize any centre-back partnership. Estopian obviously is one of the high chance creators at Brighton, and therefore a key player for them. But again, for Estopian, he will be looking to exploit any kind of spaces that Manchester United fullbacks will be leaving behind, or he'll be looking to invert into midfield to create an extra man, to create an overload for Brighton against Manchester United. So what are the key weaknesses for Manchester United in this game, and what are the key weaknesses for Brighton as we come into this game? With Manchester United, injuries at the back are going to actually form a very big issue for them. Like I said, Lisandro Martinez is a doubt, Luke Shaw is a doubt, Varane is a doubt. There's so many players that are not going to be available for selection for Erik ten Hag in this game, and that actually causes another problem, which is the defensive leaks. Come on, Man United. 7 goals conceded so far. In 4 matches, you've not even played Manchester City. You've not even played Liverpool. You've not even played one of these, some of these clubs that we know are going to cause a real huge problem. I think Man United really need to work on their defensive leaks, but that also comes from the fact that they have a couple of players that are out injured. And my problem with Manchester United and their key weakness is they're struggling to get a grip of games. Tottenham, no. Nottingham Forest, I don't think so. Arsenal, they didn't. So they need to start connecting the dots a little bit sooner than later. Brighton, the problem is barring chances. Yes, they've scored 12 in 4, and their problem is still finishing. Like, they create a lot, they just don't finish off the chances. I mean, if I am Dizabi, I'll take these boys to the mountains of Malaysia and just tell them, if you don't finish your chances, you don't come down of that mountain. Because literally, these guys are creating about 4 or 5 big chances per 90, and they're barring only 3. It's not good enough. For the strength, Manchester United, they will be very, very strong, and they are very strong this campaign on the transition. Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho now, and I think the suspension of Anthony could actually be, it could prove to be a little bit positive for Manchester United. I mean, I didn't want to say that really, but Alejandro Garnacho on one side, Marcus Rashford on the other, could actually prove to be a key to unlocking the success of Erik ten Hag's system this season. So they will be trying to play on the transition, and that is a key strength for them. You will remember the goal they scored against Arsenal. That was a real key example of good transition football. And again, another key strength is Andre Onana. He's good at keeping the ball out of the net, but also he's good at playing those balls and allowing them to play out from the back. A very confident goalkeeper, a goalkeeper that actually allows the manager to have a couple of options and a couple of alternatives. For Brighton, their strength is possession, sharp wingers, and creating chances. These guys create chances. Before they scored 4 against Luton Town, Brighton had created an XG of 4 goals. That means that they had 4 chances that should have been buried before they scored 4 against Luton. So literally, Brighton should have scored 8 goals in that game. So they create a lot of chances, but of course, the wingers as well are quite very sharp. You look at Karu Mitoma and Solly March, you've got to watch out for them, and their biggest attribute is possession. Now, Brighton, to put that into perspective, Brighton have not had any game where it has ended with Brighton having low possession percentages than the opponent. The lowest percentage they've had this campaign was against Newcastle in the recent game. They had 54% ball possession. That means that whatever happens, in whichever way it happens, Brighton will keep possession and Brighton will have the ball. It's a key strength, just like Manchester City. So my initial analysis of this game as we go into it is Man United are better off sitting into a low block. I'm sorry to say this, Man United at the Old Trafford, but you're better off sitting in the low block, trying to stop Brighton from getting those chances and passing lanes. The moment Man United open up themselves, like they did against Wolverhampton Wanderers, it will get embarrassing. Man United have not won a game in their last 3 encounters against Brighton. They have not even picked up a single point. It means that Man United are doing something wrong and they don't want to repeat that same mistake. In my own opinion, I would say that if you're Man United, sit back in a low block, be organized, be compact, just like they were against Arsenal, and be lethal on the break. And that is what Erik ten Hag is trying to do this campaign. With Brighton, I think, like I said, they will try to have possession. They will try to play out that free-flowing football. Billy Gilmore, Pascal Gross, the likes of Lewis Dunk, they will come in support of that, forward unit. And all Man United have to do is to sit patiently and just wait for their moment to attack. However, Man United have not lost a game in their had not lost actually a game at the Old Trafford in their last 8. They have lost 1 now in their last 9, drawing 1 and beating Brighton 8 times. But that was a different Brighton, and this is a different Brighton as well. My prediction, Man United 2, Brighton 2. I don't see Man United lose this game. I think they will try to lift themselves. They will try to lift their spirits from the international break, but it's a hard fixture. It's one where I see Manchester United go down 2-1, and they find an equalizer, and they find solace in a draw. If you agree with me, hit the like button. If you disagree with me, hit the like button and let me know in the comment box below why you think Man United will not pick a point in this game. I'll see you right in the next one.